Meanwhile, at the Genshin Impact Research Facility...
Genshin Impact Research Facility? How may I help you, sir, ma'am?
Yeah, can you do a video on the Ryden Shogun?
Raiden I or Raiden Makoto?
No, the Ryden Shogun.
You mean the Electro Archon?
No, I mean Ball.
The Kagemusha?
What?
Beelzebul.
Who?
The Narukami Ogosho.
Are you speaking English right now?
The Master of the Euthymic Plane.
What are you saying?
The Slayer of Orobashi.
Yeah, that. All of that. Do a video on all of that.
Alright, I guess, but I don't see what's so confusing about all of it. The Electro Archon in Genshin Impact is quite the confusing character. She goes by many names: I, Beelzebul, Ball, the Raiden Shogun, Narukami Ogosho, Makoto, or just the Electro Archon. The confusing part is, some of these are titles, and some of these are separate people, or rather, entities. So what are all these titles, and what are the differences? Better yet, who is the Ryden Shogun? Let's establish who the Electro Archon is first. Her real name is Ai, or Raiden I, who would later rule Inazuma under the name of Beelzebul. She's the twin sister of Makoto, who ruled under the name of Ball, and because the people of Inazuma understood there to be only one Ryden Shogun, Ball effectively referred to both sisters. Makoto was the original Electro Archon, and Raiden I acted as her Kagemusha, aka body double. This may seem strange, but in historical Japan, a Kagemusha was a common practice to protect important lords and political members. Makoto, however, perished in the fall of Conria during the Cataclysm, and we aren't sure exactly how she met her demise, whether it came from the forces of Conria, other Archons, or Celestia itself. These two sisters united the islands of Inazuma into one cohesive nation during the Archon War and ruled it together. It is said that Makoto was a very gentle ruler, and we'll be talking more about their dynamic later in the video. The Electro Archon is arguably one of the most powerful characters we have seen so far. While the Traveler struggled to deal with Lady Senora, the Electro Archon destroys her with one slash of the Muso no Hitotachi. More on this weapon later in the video. The Electro Archon is currently the infamous leader of Inazuma, as we know, known for ruling with an iron fist and acting the Vision Hunt decree that is carried out by the Bakufu. Interestingly enough, a Bakufu is a real Japanese term for the system of government exercised by the shogunate. These tasks, however, are carried out by the Raiden Shogun puppet. This Raiden Shogun is an advanced puppet created by Ai. It is an entirely different personality than the true Electro Archon, and it was designed to follow the orders of the real Electro Archon. The general populace of Inazuma are not aware of these two individuals being different, however, similar to how the two sisters first operated, with Makoto being the Electro Archon and Raiden I being the Kagemusha. While the Raiden Shogun puppet conducts all of the operations of running Inazuma, you may be wondering why the Electro Archon chooses to delegate these tasks to the puppet instead of ruling on her own, and what she does instead. Well, the answer is a little complicated, but the Raiden Shogun puppet runs Inazuma, while the real Electro Archon meditates in the Plane of Euthymia for all of eternity, which is a place that only exists in her mind, while her consciousness lives in a sword wielded by the Raiden Shogun puppet, which she has sheathed and can pull out of her chest. Now, you may be wondering, what the f***? Yeah, it gets a little confusing, so bear with me. Let's start with the Plane of Euthymia. This is a space that exists only in the mind of Beelzebul. There, in the lonely, desolate plain, she sits silently in the center of a Mitsu Domoe, which I've actually done a video on if you're interested. Surrounded by torii gates, she meditates for eternity. While she meditates in this plane of her own consciousness, her consciousness itself is embedded in the sword of her lost sister, which is now wielded by the puppet and called the Musho Ishin. How exactly she can embed her consciousness into the Musho Ishin, we can just chalk that up to Archon powers that we don't understand, because that's as good of an explanation as the game is going to give us at this point in time. It was said that when Makoto was in possession of the Musho Ishin, its blade was completely unsharpened and dull, as Makoto was a woman who was gentle and peaceful according to Yae Miko. Now, under the control of the Electro Archon, you can bet this shogun keeps the blade as sharp as possible. Today, burdened with the pain and loss of her twin sister Makoto, Raiden Ai planned to meditate for all eternity in her consciousness until she was interrupted by the Traveler in Yaemiko, seeking to end the Vision Hunt Decree in Inazuma. Why exactly Beelzebul chooses to reside in the Plane of Euthymia is a combination of the loss of her sister and her fear of any future losses in her nation, choosing to stagnate and stay quote-unquote eternal rather than risk any future losses. Why she chooses to accept the proposition by the Fatui to enact the Vision Hunt Decree is because she believes that, or rather believed that, visions should be under the control of the gods, and those who possess them are a threat to her idea of eternity. So now we've successfully covered all of the titles and names except one, and that is the Narukami Ogosho. This is an interesting one because the Narukami Ogosho isn't exactly Makoto or Ai, but rather the idea of the Electro Archon. Narukami in Japanese is an alternate name for Raiden, the Thunder God. You can also see where we get the title Raiden from in their names. The real Japanese Thunder God Raiden is often accompanied and depicted alongside his brother, Fujin, who was the god of wind. This could answer the question as to why the Electro Archon originally existed in a twin pair. Although Raiden Ai wasn't a god of storms like Fujin, MiHoYo was still drawing a lot of inspiration from the real-life Thunder God by choosing to depict their version in a pair of two as well. Though, in the Narukami Shrine, they don't worship the Ryden Shogun per se, and they quite often prayed to the end of the Vision Hunt Decree, openly disagreeing with her policies. Instead, they're worshipping the Thunder God Narukami, who is still technically the Raiden Shogun for all intents and purposes, but you could think of them as worshipping more of the idealized version of the Thunder God, not the ruler of Inazuma. At least that's my opinion on why she has this title. After all, why would they design a new title specifically for her status as a Thunder God if it was understood that they were one and the same? All of Inazuma worships the Thunder God Narukami, except for the island of Sangyo-no-Miya, which still worships Orobashi. The history of Orobashi and the Ryden Shogun may be the subject for a future video, however I'm not going to incorporate all of the details of Orobashi and the Ryden Shogun in this video, because that would take far too long, and is not necessarily indicative of the Ryden Shogun and who she is, as much as it is in the history of Inazuma, if that makes any sense. Now, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned the strength of the Electro Archon. Without a vision or even a Gnosis, as her Gnosis was traded by Yaemiko to Scaramucci for the safety of the Traveler, who, by the way, Scaramucci is also a failed puppet created by the Raiden Ai, the Electro Archon absolutely destroys Signora, who gave even the Traveler a run for their money. This display of raw strength really gives us a good depiction of the absolute power the Electro Shogun maintains. In terms of strength, it seems that this Archon is on the same playing field as Zhongli, and may even be stronger than the God of Contracts. If you would like to see a video comparing the strength levels of all the known Archons, please leave a comment. But besides all of this, the Electro Archon is also responsible for the creation of the Musojin Gorge, which she created when she defeated the serpent god Orobashi, whose remains are responsible for the Tatarigami curse that still plagues Inazuma today. As it currently stands, the Electro Archon has repealed the Vision Hunt Decree after her fight with the Traveler. She is slowly getting out and leaving the Plane of Euthymia to discover Inazuma as it is now, slowly starting to accept the natural flow of change in the world of Teyvat. So that is my explanation on the Ryden Shogun. I hope you like this video, and I tried to employ a little bit of different editing techniques in the video, which if you've seen my previous videos, you probably noticed almost immediately. So let me know what you think of the new changes in this style, and if you feel like I left anything important out in regards to the video content, please feel free to leave a comment. If you would like to suggest a future video, check out the Discord with the link in the description, as that's the best way to recommend videos. But as always, I hope to see you in the next video, and thank you for watching.